If you look at SME sector, they are a very big sector anywhere in the world, including Singapore. They're also a very, very vulnerable sector over here. I think if you can sort of help them, whether to increase productivity through employment of technology, through human capital development, to build capacity and so on, I think that would be good for the long term. I think SMEs, like I said, are very vulnerable and certainly are not as well equipped as the larger players or larger guys to withstand shocks.
I think if you go back in time, whether the bank lending scheme is successful or not, we in Singapore are a little bit different. We don't have a structural problem, okay? What we are afraid of, and we also don't have a liquidity problem, okay, because there were massive liquidity. What we are afraid of was the credit problem, okay, and that's where we are coming to here. So when I think things like the stimulus package, I always see it like, at that point, you know that the world is sick, but you do not know where's the cure, so you put in some steroids in there. But steroids can't be forever, okay, at some point you're going to take the steroids out. And that's probably where we should be looking at. Maybe now you have a temporary this year. So I think that the challenge in the industry or to Singapore or to the world today is how to solve that cyclical problem. But it's good to keep that in because there are some, especially the smaller companies and all the riskier ones that might not still be able to get financing. Okay, so keep that in the system, but like I say, it's unlikely that the full budget will be utilized.
It's probably not a bad time to put substantial sums of money to really help companies or sectors or industries to upgrade in a major way.
We really need to look at how the SME sector can be pushed along and maybe stand on its own feet and not only be a sort of support for the MNCs.
I think we need to be careful to ensure that we remain competitive in that space. That's a space which has been ignored largely in the last 2 or 3 years. The gap in the personal tax rates, the top personal tax rates has widened between Singapore and Hong Kong. And the gap has widened also between the top marginal personal tax rate and the corporate tax rate in Singapore, giving rise to opportunities to arbitrage.
I think tax rates is only one aspect of it, and we shouldn't just compare purely on the tax rate. We offer a better environment, and people make decisions whether to locate in Singapore, not just purely on the tax, but a whole range of things. Security, family comfort, the environment, and everything else. So I think we have to be very careful and not take such consideration purely on the arithmetic sort of basis. Likewise, I think everyone is entitled to a home and enjoy the capital appreciation resulting from it and should not be taxed on it. But I noticed that there seems to be a shyness to tax when people are speculating on it and therefore driving up property prices, going to the second, third, and fourth. Why should there be such a shyness? I mean, we make sure that everyone gets the help to buy your first home and enjoy the benefits of the capital appreciation. But once you go beyond it and your action causes property prices to go up and therefore make it less affordable to other Singaporeans, then I don't think the government ought to be shy about taxing it.
Sorry, yeah, I just wanted to jump into this debate because obviously it's... I take your point, Jared. I think that's right. I think, it's a quality of life as well. I think the issue is at the moment is that there's a huge opportunity here for Singapore. I think when you look at how other countries are dealing with the issues that they're facing, they are targeting those individuals, and those individuals are starting to look about where else should I move to. The quality of life issue is secondary for them because they don't know Singapore, they don't see Singapore, so they're making decisions before they come here. So I think that the tax rates are very important, and they're not necessarily looking at the corporate tax rates, they are looking at the individual tax rates. So, I'm not talking necessarily about the top highest rate, but I think the bands themselves as well need to be relooked at. Maybe for the lowest income earners, the ones that are suffering in the economy, the ones that are likely to be most affected, I think those bands need to increase so that you've got a much more realistic exemption for where those bands should be. But I do think that the top marginal rate, which is a thing that people look at rather than looking at effective rates, needs to be considered. Obviously, it's a policy decision, but I think we've got a good opportunity to take a look at it now.
Okay, at the balance of that, just a comment on that is that as we look at attracting of foreign talent, there is also the balance of also making sure that we continue to retain the local talent, because we have a very big talent pool in Singapore that's also actually looking out. And not a bad thing, but we also, as we build up capability, I think that that's the two balance of the coin as well. And it's a balance that has to be calibrated very carefully.
While we are doing a lot, to try and attract foreign talent, there is always this group of professional Singaporeans who are always neglected. This is the group that pay the highest in taxes, whether it is income taxes or GST or vehicle-related taxes and all sorts of taxes. They contribute the most to the government, but they are not eligible for government grants. They are also not helped to buy the first house that Gerard is talking about because they don't qualify, And so I'm just wondering, in trying to encourage people to come and join us, are we also encouraging this group, which is also the most mobile, because they are also the group that is likely to leave Singapore? Whether the government should look at how you can acknowledge the contribution of this group.
The absence of taxation on capital gains is a major competitive attraction for Singapore. What is missing today is clarity on what constitutes a capital gain, which is not taxable, and what constitutes speculative and trading gains, which are taxable today.